Hello UW teaching colleagues. My name is Kevin G. Gallagher. I'm a mentor teacher and a site coordinator in the Seattle Public Schools, and I wanted to check in with you. I recently had a workshop, Ideas and Stuff workshop, that a number of you came to. Thanks for coming, and I'm following up with the send-outs of those things. What I did want to check in with you today, with the invitation from Dr. Aaron Bird, was some information around the remote learning, the areas you're about to engage in, and wanted to just check in with you. So I am someone who has been mentoring UW interns for the last 24 years or so. I'm not a UW alumnus, but maybe I'm going to self-declare I am an alumnus after 24 years of supporting the TEP. And so have and maintain contact with my interns as an ongoing support. But I think the piece that I wanted to check in with you about is that recognizing you have one more advocate out here in the community who's looking to help you ease into the new educational world order we have that we're all experiencing. There's no a textbook or plan that we can lean back into to develop our skill set other than to base our decisions on foundational knowledge, good conjecture, and a desire to serve children, students, and their families. And so I think, first is just take a big deep breath and a sigh that we're in a situation that none of us could know about, and we lived it as it unfolded, and now we're trying to take this relatively short summer break to begin to gather our thoughts, hear from our stakeholders, parents and colleagues, to begin to develop some kind of plan for the fall. And so what I wanted to just speak with you a little bit about today is the idea of remote learning and my journey with that. Recognizing that the access and equity and all of the pieces that go along with this that are a struggle to come to terms with, and we will continue to struggle with and through. I'm just going to give a snapshot of the remote learning experience that I found useful for my community. Back in March, we had about a 2-hour window of time between an announcement from our supervisors above saying the schools were going to close on that Wednesday and get out of the buildings as quickly as you can. So we all did something differently. I helped my students exit. I teach kindergarten, and did my best to exit them, have brief conversations with emotionally distraught parents, confused and lost in that, and so trying to balance all of that. The next 2 days everything was very quiet, but by that weekend, that first Sunday, I just thought I need to be active. My 5 and 6-year-olds need to see me if they're going to understand and cope with this dilemma. And you look at that dilemma as school closure, and then they're in their homes. What's the daily news? How is this worldwide affecting all of us? And I just kept thinking of that lens pulsing. I immediately thought that their parents suddenly took on 3 distinct roles. They would continue their caretaking as a parent. They would be, for those who were working from home, were suddenly working from home. Some were out in the community and working, and they were suddenly a teacher. And I wanted to support all of those roles along with very young students. And so I created a YouTube channel, 327 Teach, and began with a single video on that Monday of just connecting with kids. I thought about the 4 R's of culturally responsive teaching and learning, and thought relationships, that's number 1, that just has to happen. Within a few days, I immediately expanded into 5 to 7 videos, and by the end of the week, I was up to 13 plus. Everything from just taking attendance. I used their initials and told them we had just started practicing initials, so that have an initial card ready. So when they heard those 2 initials, I was checking to see if they were in attendance. I didn't do anything live with Zoom meetings as instructional tools because of the rawness of that, and that was a skill set that I knew that they didn't have yet, to attempt to work that through. At the same time, Seattle Schools was vacillating back and forth between using Microsoft Teams, which we're obligated to, using Zoom. Don't use Zoom, just do Teams. You can use both. No, now you can. I just quietly thought I'm just going to use them as a check-in and use the YouTube videos, which we had no information about. Recognizing that the district was in a high delivery recovery mode and we were not going to hear anything, I knew they would think about tech access, equity, food service, homeless kids. Instructional framework and support was not going to be coming, so that's when I decided to just take charge of my own students' learning and develop my YouTube channel. And then just had YouTube videos out. I created a 327 Teach Highlights 2020 playlist for you folks to have a chance to go back. Well, you're already there now if you're watching this. And just I pulled out some of the videos I think that are worth seeing, where I addressed literacy, math, social and emotional learning, speaking to the greater experienced, and have several video threads in all of my playlists. We did 64 daily playlists, and I took a sampling of them. Feel free to browse a bunch of other places if you want to in my collection. And so I really wanted my students to be able to see and hear me. I looked and sounded like I do every day in class. Apparently it was so good that one parent said that in the first week his daughter kept raising her hand trying to answer my questions and speak to me. So it showed that the newness of technology was still a developing skill for her. And apparently I sold it so well that she thought I was talking just to her. And so all teachers are scrambling, but I just wanted to lead my own way and be corrected later if need be by other sources of decision making in the district. I kind of feel like they didn't catch up with me, and I was so entrenched in my videos and they were so user friendly to the families and parents. Immediately got good feedback within a week, knowing that a number of other teachers were not there yet, and my families could guarantee that they had 75 minutes or so every day where their kids could be learning. I knew for equity and access that there wasn't going to be a 9 o'clock reading group because the technology was shared. I committed myself to having my playlist released every morning at 9 a.m. Some parents said that it was a morning of instruction and learning at home because that's what they could do. Other ones would watch it when they could and could release their single laptop to the kindergarten kid after the 4th grade and the 7th grader, and dad was using it. So I knew that the models and the use of them was going to be very varied. That's why I thought a solid playlist just to be used whenever anybody wants to. Not everyone was using it. Some people clocked out for a while. Some felt that they could find other websites, Khan Academy and other places where they wanted their kids to be. I just wanted to be sure that they were getting plenty from me. And that continued for a couple of weeks on my own. And then I checked in with my grade level team, and we decided we were then going to have a shared plan sheet that we were using, and I'd be happy to share with you folks, where we each would teach a curricular strand. I have an intern from the UW who was also with me and felt that I wanted her as engaged as possible. The spring term is when she was being prepared to take over full time, and I didn't want her to lose that capacity. So she stepped in as the 6th teacher in our grade level team, 5 plus my intern. And so we each chose areas to then work with. I continued my daily playlists for my own students. Eventually, I know we have something like 8,000 views and 75 subscribers or something like that, so I know that the other people outside my classroom, I have 24 students, were finding it useful. I encourage people to feel free to give the link to anybody who had little kids, whether they were in Seattle or other parts of the country, to be able to hear a good read aloud and do a little bit of word work, do some math, hear the social emotional learning videos, have some goofy fun, and apparently it worked for all those families. The grade level team then developed what looks like a plan sheet, like you'd seen a plan book, with the teacher having a line across Monday through Friday of our work. We began at this point to get more directives from the district using Schoology, not a fan of, and then tons of tech resources coming in, more than I could ever have reviewed. So some I sent out and just said, my colleagues suggest this, it hasn't been vetted by me, but I'm going to trust their judgment because I didn't have time to develop all I was doing for my own playlist, work with my grade level team, and then look at all these resources. The grade level team developed a plan sheet. I volunteered to teach math, and then someone else taught word work, read alouds, science, art, creative work. So parents could look at a plan sheet, come to a work area and the day, click on the hot link, and then go right to the video of that teacher's prepared lesson. We then had a separate packet, which was a separate process of using technology to stockpile our week's worksheets that could be then downloaded by the family and then printed. So it was a very large and complex task. It seemed to work for people. Again, our feedback was tremendous. People knew we were going above and beyond the expectations. We heard comparisons to other grade levels and some other schools where we were truly leading the pack in being as available as possible. This isn't self-promotion, it's just simply one of those examples of taking charge, doing what we felt was generatively best for our families. That includes parents, siblings, and our own students, and trying to deliver the message. I do hope you have the chance to look at the website and see what can be. I know you're entering your internships and placements in the same scramble that we are all in. I'm happy to be a sounding board to anyone who wants to reach out and check in. kggallagher@seattleschools.org. You have a very fascinating journey ahead of you, as do all of us. We just are 3 months ahead of you, and that's about it, because we began this in March and went March through June, and then we'll all reset for the fall. I'm currently on a committee right now that I essentially led to its institution, looking at the social emotional needs of our students stepping into the fall. We all know there's going to be assessment and instruction. We're a group that's working now and over the summer to develop several strategies and frameworks for our staff to use to walk up to the experience with the lens for our work entirely focused on the social emotional learning and needs of our students and families. And I can keep you posted about that. I hope this video serves a purpose that I intend for you to have a resource that can be useful. If not, okay, thanks, it's been nice. And if it is, then certainly feel free to visit the website, look at the highlights playlist, and then browse anything else. And that website will be active and reinstituted come fall when we begin, whatever we begin, all over again. Again, I sincerely wish you well. I'm happy to be a resource. Congratulations on being in the UW's program. You're in a great fit. It's a program I hold in the highest of esteems, and will continue my work with them. Thank you, everyone. Best wishes and all that lie ahead for you, and wishing you and all you care about to be healthy and safe for the many months ahead.